going to bring things a little bit to the lighter side with the fabulous Chief Creative Ambassador of Barney's New York, Mr. Simon Doonan. Please join me in welcoming him.
Hi there. Can you all see me behind the lectern? Maybe I should be on a stool. Anyway, so how many of you have ever felt self-conscious about your appearance? Okay, even incredible feminist viragos like you still feel self-conscious? Okay, well, I'm going to fix that right now. I'm going to tell you a story. It's more of a fable, really. And it's sort of, I think, will rid you of those masochistic, self-critical feelings that women are prone to. Ready to be rid of your masochistic, self-critical feelings? Once and for all, it will show you the utter pointlessness of ever being self-conscious, the utter pointlessness of saying, does my ass look big in this? The utter pointlessness of all that stuff that women sort of flagellate themselves with. Okay, so about 10 years ago, maybe it was a bit longer, Barney's, my employer, was about to open a co-op store on Worcester Street in Soho. So remember those smaller Barney's stores, Co-op Street on Worcester Street. So our CEO at the time said to me, I want to do a big opening, I want to have celebrities there, etc., etc. And I said to him, well, we don't have a lot of money in the budget, but he was very insistent. So I thought, maybe I'll call this chick I know who, are we allowed to say chick? Thank you. I'll call this chick that I know who actually runs an agency for celebrity lookalikes, right? Creative thinking. So I called this woman and I said, okay, next Saturday I'm going to need a bunch of celebrities, and I especially want to get a Queen Elizabeth II because I figure she could cut the ribbon on the store, and then I can appease our CEO, deliver some celebrities without screwing up the budget, right? Team player thinking. So, I booked a Liza, a Michael Jackson, but the most important, the pièce de résistance, was going to be the Queen Elizabeth II. So right the day before the opening, it was going to be an afternoon, sort of sunny day, 2 o'clock kind of a thing with a red carpet. The day before the opening, I get a call from the chick at the lookalike agency, and she said, unfortunately, Queen Elizabeth has gone in for a procedure. And I said, you're kidding. I've just sent out a press release telling all the press that Queen Elizabeth II is going to cut the ribbon on the co-op, blah, blah, blah. So I just said, oh my God, this is a catastrophe. Women's Wear Daily is expecting to see Queen Elizabeth II. And she said to me, I'll never forget this bit, she said, I can get you a Wolf Blitzer. And I said, no offense to Wolf, but I mean, nothing says come shopping and buy fashion quite like some older guy who thinks he looks like Wolf Blitzer standing around in a store. So our PR director at the time, she'd known me for years, and back in the early 80s, when I lived in LA, I used to do anything to make money. And one of the things I used to do was I used to impersonate Queen Elizabeth II. Yes, there's pictures online to prove it. Thank God I didn't morph into a fully fledged, celebrity impersonator. That would be a bit tragic. But so the PR girl who I work with, she said, you're going to have to do it. You can do it. You've done it before. You are going to have to get dressed up as Queen Elizabeth II. Team player. So Saturday morning, I found myself being corseted and maquillaged and wigged and bejeweled and transformed into Queen Elizabeth II. And it wasn't like when she goes walking in the heather, and she's got the nice tweed skirt and the twin set. This was state dinner. you know, bejeweled floor-length gown, butt pads, fake boobs, tiara, scepter, orb, sash, medals, jewels, white handbag. It was the whole palaver. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to have to leave my apartment on a Saturday, busy downtown location, at 1 o'clock, and I was going in a bicycle rickshaw down to the store. No expense was spared. So I got in the elevator in my apartment building where I'd lived for like 15 years, and I thought, I am never going to live this down. With the tenants, the dorm, it's just going to be one of those cringe-making moments where, you know, like a before and after moment, you know, in your life, one of those real benchmarks where you're utterly humiliated in public. But hey, team player, right? So I get in the elevator, and I'm sort of adjusting my scepter and orb and tiara and thinking, oh, I'm such a good employee, and I hope I get a raise for this, but also cringing and schwitzing and worrying about what's going to happen when I get out into the lobby. So ping, the doors open on the elevator. I walk into the lobby, and there's the doorman. And he looks up from his little desk and looks at me, and I look at him, and the sun kind of glints on one of my many jewels that I was wearing. And it was a bit like those spaghetti westerns, you know, those Sergio Leone movies. But it was sort of a standoff. So he looked at me, I looked at him, he was looking at my boobs and my fake ass. And I walked towards him, and I thought, this is just going to be an unbelievably excruciating moment. He's probably already called the men in white coats or the police or something. So I get level with him, and he says to me, finally he speaks, he says, do you want your mail now or when you come back? And within that moment, I saw the utter pointlessness of all this sort of self-critical stuff that particularly women do to themselves, the utter pointlessness of being self-conscious, the utter pointlessness of beating yourself up, because nobody cares. You can set fire to yourself, you can dress up as the queen, you are free. Now, do you feel free, girls? Good, my work here is done.